Namaste dear students. Today's bio class we continue the lesson chapter 8 reproduction. How do organisms reproduce? Last class we studied about cell divisions. Mitotic and meiotic divisions helps in growth and development, cell replacement and reproduction. An organism passes its genetic information to daughter cells and forms one generation to another by making copies of DNA molecules, that is called as DNA copying or replication. So, reproduction is blueprint of DNA copies. This is a process by which living organisms produce new individuals of the same species. So, this fundamental characteristics of living things is called reproduction in organisms. Each species of organism reproduce mainly in two groups. They are sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction involves one parent, no gametes are involved, offsprings are genetically the same as parents. These are also called as clonings. In sexual reproduction, it involves two parents, it involves gametes and forms fertilization, and offsprings are genetically different from each of the parents. This reproduction of organisms produce some variations in their offsprings. Variation is the difference between individuals within species. This can be caused by inherited characters like height, color, etc., or some of the environmental factors like heat, cold, etc. They have to adapt for these variations. This variation topic we discuss in heredity and evolution lesson. Okay. Now we can discuss types of asexual reproduction. First one is fission. It has binary fission and multiple fission. Second one is budding. Third one is spore formation. Fourth one is fragmentation. Fifth one is regeneration. Sixth one is vegetative propagation. Now we discuss one by one. First one is fission. Here division or splitting of unicellular organisms into two or more parts. The splitting of the two cells division will take place in any plane. We can see in amoeba, euglena and paramecium. Here nucleus divides only once and two individuals are formed in any plane. But in leishmania, which causes a disease called Kala-Azar, it has a whip-like structure at one end of the cell. Binary fission occurs in a definite plane. It can take in horizontal plane only, and two daughter cells will be formed. In multicellular fission, the single cell divides into many daughter cells simultaneously. For example, in Plasmodium, nucleus divides repeatedly in unfavorable conditions and many daughter cells will be produced. Okay. Next type of asexual reproduction is budding, the formation of an outgrowth from an organism. In each cell, during the process of reproduction, a small bud arises as an outgrowth of the parent body. The newly created bud divides and grows into a new cell. Under microscope, these yeast cells looks like this. Okay. Another example of budding is hydra. In hydra, a bud develops as an outgrowth due to repeated cell divisions at one specific site and develops into tiny individual. When fully matured, detach from the parent body and become new independent individual. Okay. Next is about the spore formation. We can observe these spores in the cotton-like mesh on the bread molds. Under favorable conditions, they germinate and produce new plants. This consists of a fine thread-like projections called hypae and knob-like structures called sporangia will reproduce by spore formation by fungi such as rhizophus. When the spores case burst, the tiny spores are dispersed and form new individuals. Non-flowering plants like fern and moss also reproduce by this method. I think all of you understood the topic. Fragmentation, regeneration and vegetative propagation we can discuss in our next class. Okay. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.